Welcome to Airheads and friends.
Okay. Hey, hi, we're the Airheads. Okay, I'm Natalie. I am the original maker of the Airheads and Friends, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce Miss Jade here to start with.
Hi. So I'm Jade. So I guess we're going to give a little bit of background.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. So I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a witch. I'm born and raised in Texas. I do come from a apostolic Pentecostal background, which is really interesting because I just said that I'm a witch. Yeah, we got there. I found my craft after motherhood. Yeah, some of my interesting little niche interests, I would say really obsessed with the Appalachian Mountains and whatever's going on there.
Dang.
So yeah,
I love it.
that's me.
What are your big three?
I am a Sag Sun, an Aries rising, and an Aquarius moon. So we got a lot of air and fire in there. So I just gassed myself up.
Okay. Hi, I'm Natalie again. I am 35 years old. My birthday is coming up in September. At the end of it here, I am a Libra sun and moon and a Sag rising. So a lot of justice and a very swift decision on things. But I was a very devout Catholic growing up. Was very involved with my church. I did everything you could probably do. I even taught Sunday school or CC. It was called CCE or CCE. I can't remember at the time. With the Catholic Church, and it wasn't actually until I became a mother that my real spiritual journey began. I have always had the ability of, I guess you could say, clairaudience. But I was very much clairvoyant and clairsentient, I think is the other word for it too. I could see things as well. As a kid, I had a couple really intense experiences, which we'll touch on later. But instead of fear, which I felt growing up, and not having the tools to identify, protect, and really give myself my own voice back, I feel like it really began in motherhood. That primal kind of thing got pulled out of me and brought me here. I would say it really began in 2018-ish. That was when my second was about a year old, and I kind of finally came out of the trenches, and I was like, what am I doing? Who am I? Why am I dressing like this? What am I? This is just motions. This wasn't me. I wasn't happy. I was very depressed, and it all kind of came to a head in 2020 for me. So a lot of this has kind of even began there. I knew from the beginning there, I've always been very open about struggles and very candid about my depression and anxiety. And I feel like a lot of people don't feel heard or seen in a lot of scenarios in their lives or situations. And I'm hoping that's what this is going to bring for everybody here, whether you're into witchcraft, whether you're a Catholic, whether you're a Christian, Buddhist, Hinduism, like it's whatever you can. I hope you find a space here because that's what this podcast is really here for. I'm going to lead it over to Sabrina.
I'm Sabrina. I am 30. I'll be 36 in a couple of days, I guess. My big three, I'm a Virgo sun, Cancer moon, and an Aquarius rising. Honestly, I don't have much to say after that.
I love that.
Yeah, I don't really have
very direct.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. I do dig the Appalachian Mountain stuff.
Was that like
Love to know more of that.
big and
I am finding as I grow, I love history more. But yeah, I'm sure more topics about me. I'm a mom. I'm on my spiritual journey. I guess everybody's on their spiritual journey, but like I'm finding exactly where I'm going. And that probably started maybe honestly, I feel like it's been a whole life thing, but outwardly maybe 2-3 years ago. And, born up Christian, going to church, praising the Lord, and I still have a relationship, but sometimes we don't agree with each other. So there's that. Yes. But yeah,
I love that. Morgan?
Yeah. Hello. I'm Morgan. I am my big three. I'm a Pisces sun. I am a Libra rising and a Leo moon, so I'm chaotic. But surprisingly, and yeah, it works. It helps. Also born and raised cradle Catholic, so it's interesting how that journey has moved to where I'm at now. So I'm pretty newbie in the practice. However, I've always felt energy. I've always felt like I can see certain things. I'm like, I'm not going to pay attention to you right now, but I clocked you. I'm walking away and like, I feel what's going on here. I think a big part of that is how my family, their origin stories, and both my dad and my mom's side, it's so funny. One side of it is very like she was a healer, my great grandma. And it's just her stories are incredible. And then on my mom's side of things, again, Catholic, it's ironic just how similar, like you're almost there. The magnets are just kind of button heads. It's like the ones that aren't exactly like just flip it around and there's that connection. But yeah, I'm a little bit of a siren. I've got that music bug, of course I'm a Pisces. I know if I stem or something. Piano, vocal, flute, blah blah blah. You know what though? I've really been enjoying the history with regard to astrology. Why exactly where the planets are in regard to like in the past when certain world wars were going on. Kind of how where we are right now. But
The planets are aligning
yes,
against
exactly. Pluto and like
Every Christmas. Oh, it's astrology.
No.
It is crazy. Well, that's what we do the Palmer Almanac with.
Yeah.
Is actual like astrology.
yes.
Every year they do that. They have all of the moon phases and everything.
It's just crazy.
They
So
try to tell us that
if you talk to people in areas that they can't make that connection. Like they understand, they're looking at the earth for the answers, they're looking at stars even from the beginning, right? That's how you navigated things.
So this is your
But
goal,
the
right?
second you say these stars and these planets have characteristics to them, and those characteristics
they're like
if
full
it's
stop.
real,
You're not you
they'll
don't
lose it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, it's science. Stars are science.
yeah.
Well,
And they'll get there. But
100%. And then in some of the episodes later, we kind of talk about spicy psychology versus like magic because, and even science is honestly looped into there because it's all mixed together because what somebody could chalk up to be a placebo effect is still a valid scientific study that is used in all platforms and places all around us. So it's just kind of funny how it kind of all leads back to here, but that's kind of what we'll be touching on and breaking down. And it sounds like all of us are kind of in different spots in our journey, but that's what's beautiful about this because I'm hoping with all of us being in different parts in different spots in our seasons in our journey, it'll give somebody a voice who doesn't.
And that's like what my next point was. I feel like I have a perspective of somewhat of a newbie, so maybe I can encourage or help vocalize. Like if you guys have Q&A, for us.
Yeah. We will link obviously in the show notes and everything. We have an email. We'll have all platforms up and ready to go. I think the only one I have left is Facebook to create. So, and that's just like a personal thing that I'm working on. Other than that, we'll have different resources and utilization. I'll have plenty of podcasts, links, book references if we talk about them, all in show notes. We are also going to release with just audio along with this video. So hopefully you guys can hear this on any forms wherever you are. You can't see us, hear us, and hopefully that'll
wherever you go, there we are.
Yeah.
No, my favorite email signature right now that I'm actually not using is I hope this email finds you before I do.
All right, we covered kind of our background a little bit. We'll go into it more in detail, I'm sure, as things go on because we're gonna have like, oh, this happened to me kind of moment.
Yeah.
Well, even Noel said that. I was like, agreed. Yes. Experience all that. Yes.
100%. And let's just all preface right now, we are all neurospicy.
We've accepted. We know.
I feel like you're here with us, and I hope you do
Yeah.
us because that is the goal here. Is it's just a big place to leave big feelings and big happiness at the same time.
We can all learn some things
Well,
from it.
Oh, okay. We touched a little bit on kind of our backgrounds and like where we are right now, but I want to touch a little bit um further on kind of like where we're at, like what we kind of like work with maybe a little bit or whatever you're comfortable sharing, because not everybody's comfortable sharing with who they was with. Like, for example, I'll take kind of like what I do. So like for me, I work with what I call more of like a council. So it's very eclectic. It's very much a um, hodgepodge of characters and deities. God is in there, Jesus is in there, but I'm talking about canon Jesus. So that being said, like I encompass myself as a pagan because I really, truly, in my heart of hearts, believe we are all talking about the same thing. And we are all talking about the same puzzle. We all have our own pieces, and we're arguing about the same thing.
Retweet.
It down.
I think we're all spiritual beings having a spiritual experience.
100%, and nobody's is invalid, and nobody's is better than the other. And even though, especially in a polarized environment that we're working with right now, it has really become an us versus them thing. And that's truly what I feel like is causing so much discourse, so much energy that is just chaotic and not in a great way, you know? And I feel like if a lot of us could set that down and just hear what each other are saying, it would be a moment. We're all trying to do the same thing. We all have the same fears. We all want what's best for our families.
Most.
Oh, say yeah.
There, I think some people only believe what they believe is the best version, but it takes getting out there. What it is, you don't know what you don't know.
Oh, 100%.
So,
100%. And
yeah, exactly.
not to do better. And that is a choice. That is 100% a choice. But like kind of like following up, I work with a couple of different Greek deities. Like I said, I was raised Catholic, so it is very much I still have hymns that pop up into my head that will just be playing in my head that I'm just like, what are you doing? You know? Oh, yeah, exactly. And I will say even both of my boys ended up being baptized and everything too. So I mean, like I was fully in it. My first son went to Catholic school and everything, and I just snapped out of it one day. I was like, I'm just going through motions. This isn't me. Like I'm not.
You're just following with that expectation.
Yeah, this was just what I was told I had to do. But like I don't have to do.
Free will?
I
What?
Free will is
free will. Like, isn't that what we were supposed to have?
Yeah.
But that being said, becoming a mom gave me honestly the guts to do that because I wanted to save my kids from the trauma I grew up with, the feeling of not
The guilt, the Catholic guilt.
100% the guilt.
Heavy.
The guilt is heavy, and I don't think it was anything truly of malice when it came from the community and all of it, but it's just the learned motions. This is what it is. This is how it is. This is how it has to be. And I just never accepted that. So, other than that, I mean, like I said, I'm an eclectic person. I would identify myself as more a chaos witch. I very much work with what I got. I am not a ritualistic kind of practitioner. I am very moved with the flow. If it feels right, it feels right. Your intention means more than anything you're working with. Your brain is a powerful tool. And if you can truly retrain your thinking, you are literally capable of anything. I mean, it has helped in just the past 2 years of reframing how I even talk to myself internally.
I got a lot of voices in my head, and they're not. A lot of them are not nice.
And it really took retraining the way I talk to myself internally to start even being able to move forward with my craft, move forward with my manifestations, because so much of it, not necessarily failed, but was not what I needed and didn't have the right energy attached to it because I wasn't there yet.
Speaks to your protection because, like, if you can You're protected, yeah. Sometimes you don't get the things you want. You can manifest, you can
Mm.
put whatever version you have, and you're not getting it because you're not ready for it. And you
Nope.
should be
No.
so happy. You know what I mean? That it was
Listen, I've played
perfection.
with fire my entire life. I've only
Meant to
been burned
later.
a few times, and I'm very fortunate because I do have a strong spiritual team behind me. I have a lot of ancestors. I'm Native American, so I work very much with the energy of like the earth around us, just energy in general from people and all things around me. I believe all connected. You know, it's kind of what I was talking about earlier. So that's kind of where I'm at. I've been practicing for quite a while, but honestly, I strive to learn new things every day because I don't feel like at any point in time you should ever stop being a student.
Yes.
You should always be evolving in the sense of trying to work towards an even better version because I don't think we're flawed necessarily. I mean, I'm sure there's a few people out there who could definitely prove me wrong. I like to think of us all as imperfect, perfect, you know? And if we don't use that as a crutch and we use that as a learning opportunity, that's the difference, you know? There are so many people who gravitate towards a crutch like this. Well, yeah, you did have it happen to you, but are you going to make it
You're gonna use it
something?
again.
Oh,
Jumping
okay.
on. Yeah. We got some hot topics.
I did. I honestly, I should have recorded my reaction because, did you ever talk to AJ?
50.
The mom. The mom.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly,
She looked like the freaking yes, Quasimodo. I said, "Oh my gosh."
Speaking on like what brought us to our path, kind of.
or like touching if you want to touch anymore. We kind of did like a general, like, if you're comfortable with like saying who you work with or how you work or.
I can speak more on like maybe what brought me to the path I am now. I wrote down like a little bit of notes on that, but how I kind of got here with this is like I was raised deep in apostolic Pentecostal, which I now kind of see as a cult because like no religion should really be like you can't cut your hair, you're going to hell, you can't whatever. I feel like to me that didn't feel true. At least if you're comfortable in that, that is your journey. But to me, it shouldn't have to be like a threat for you to find joy in that. And so walking away from that, I also being raised in that from 3 to middle school, I also have a lot of addiction in my family. There was narcissists in my family. They came with their own version of demons. And when you were young and you were that spiritual, those things will give you a fright. I got the gift of seeing and hearing and no real way of protecting myself. Oh, being young and having those gifts and being around adults that not necessarily like, they weren't walking the walk or talking the talk what they claim to praise, and that came with a lot of their issues that I saw and I was exposed to. Um, but genuinely getting here, deconstructing that was really, I think, when the maiden in me died and that mother was born, it was kind of like I had this shift where I had a fire for life again that nobody could take from me. And it kind of got, in some ways, my childhood took some of that fire from me. I felt like I needed to conform. I needed to be somebody different to be loved, respected, whatever, so on and so forth. And so motherhood doesn't have to do that for you, but for me, it was that moment where it was like, am I going to continue? Like, what does this life mean to me outside of other people's opinions? And that was the first time I really felt free enough to ask myself that because now I had this little person looking at me that I knew was going to ask those questions about himself one day. So that was kind of what led me to the craft and the freedom within that. I do work with some. I'm more of an eclectic witch. True fire sign. True fire sign. I'm going to take from a little bit respectfully. I want to learn as much as I can in a respectful way from as many different cultures as I can. I
Yeah.
think there's something to be learned from all of it.
Yep.
So I think I would call myself an eclectic witch. I definitely enjoy pagan traditions, the holidays. I do enjoy celebrating things around like the wheel of the year like that. But other than that, I'm not too strict. I'm not quite chaos, but I'm just a little bit eclectic. I definitely greenway.
She's not.
I really enjoy like plants. Those are my thing that I really enjoy in my craft. I have animals, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's how I got here, and that's what we're kind of working with. Who knows? I might pick up something new within next week. I'll let you know.
ADHD. So for me, I guess how I got here was I grew up in the church. I would always say that my grandmother literally had the side seat next to Jesus. Like that's how close they had to have been. And so
I feel that way about my grandmas. They just get it.
yeah, but it's like to have that kind of blind faith is crazy to me. It is so crazy to me, especially when things don't make sense. And that is my biggest issue. Things don't make sense. Like you're all powerful and all knowing, yet bad shit happens every day. And yeah,
Say like, I'm sure that Christian God exists. I just don't necessarily align with what I've seen from him, if that makes sense. Like if
honestly,
you align with
we
that and
do
you find
align.
comfort in it, but
I think we do align
Mhm.
because I really, really think it's all like light, love everybody,
Yeah.
be nice.
well, I
The
feel like
golden
that's
rule.
Jesus' sentiment.
That's, I
So
think,
really
yes, the
respect
humanity has
Jesus'
twisted it.
Absolutely. I just mean what I was taught from
Oh,
him.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what made
yeah.
me deconstruct.
Like
Now,
what Christians are shown out.
the real meaning of it, that completely, I
Mhm.
think that takes deconstruction. But he even says, like, you need to question things. And the way I was raised, you were not allowed to question. And I think that really is a testament to the way that people could take religion and turn it into something that's meant to control,
And profit.
well,
Yep.
women, children, people of color since the beginning of time. That's how a lot of it's gone. So
Totally agree. So that's kind of how I got here. Especially with my job, I work with neglected and abused children, and it's really hard for me to believe that there is a God when you see some of the things that I see on a daily basis. Yeah, so I guess you could say I'm in the middle or in the midst of deconstructing, but at the same time, I'm just kind of winging it out here. We all are quite literally, like names will pop up. There's like 8 different ways to say this lady's the goddess.
Hecate?
Yes. But then there was one I saw, and it was like the H is silent. So it is what it is.
and it depends on what reference you're looking from. Find what aligns with you.
Yeah, no.
I doubt this primordial being
I
is
love
caught
that
up with
they
our mortal self.
agree, but listen, I'm from Texas.
Yeah.
I'm doing the best I can.
I'm sure she's just
We're working with it. She hears me.
real that
So that's what
And I
on her way in Texas.
don't know that we tend to find each other working with her because that energy, she is very, very strict with who she works with for a reason. And that energy you bring, you better be ready to work because
she will see, and I'm not ready to work, and she knows that.
She's giving you
Yeah.
hints
Shadow
to
work.
start whenever you want to, but that's not.
And that is exactly where I
The ball's in
kind
your
of
court.
just
That's the way I kind of look at all working with any of those. The ball is in your court.
100%, 100%.
100%.
Well-
I'm here, just flowing.
And that is enough.
Yes,
That's what it's out. That's part of the journey.
I think I still talk to God a lot because honestly, for what 30, I'll be 36 in a couple of weeks, and honestly, like that's who I've talked to this whole time. But it's funny because our conversations, like there is sometimes cussing now, and there's also like
That's me.
like it would talk like this stuff.
I got a little egotistic at one point.
Yes,
Are we about to fight?
yes.
Like I'm there at
Yes.
this point in time.
and then also listening, I guess, to that voice in your head and realizing that someone is talking to you, and not in like the,
Not my
Yeah.
Patricia.
not in the non or the grippy socks ways, but like listening to that voice, and it's like, okay, Sabrina, this, that, and the third.
I think intuition and life experiences teaches us the difference between spiritual psychosis and when you're actually like most of the time
Which
there's
we'll
an
talk about too.
ordinary reason, but sometimes there's a spiritual reason. Now when we're like, oh my god, the bread went bad, it's spiritual
Because
psychosis.
You can run with it either way, and you can see examples of that
Yeah.
social media everywhere where people take it and run and not in a great way.
Oh.
But I would just like to say, if you need the mental help, go get that. Like, it's not, you know what I mean?
fully
There's a
agree.
point, at some point where it does become spiritual psychosis, like you need to reconnect with your friend.
You don't have to worry about that.
I'm not worried about with you. I just mean in general
no.
to the people that might need to hear that.
I'm actually too. I can't.
We're too busy.
Yeah.
Like, we don't got time for that.
It's not- I'm sorry, that's wrong, but like honestly, I don't have the time for spiritual psychosis.
We don't have the time for a groupie talk. Like, hey, we got
Yeah,
things to
I
do,
would
people to
much
see.
rather.
Listen, if you see us
Wait,
recording from the don't mind us.
Next week episode, the
didn't see
Insane
anything.
Asylum.
All right. If this guy partakes, you didn't see it.
Or you did.
Or we
But-
did, and you're joining us, and we're all together, and we just don't know yet.
Yeah, so that's really where I am on my spiritual path. I think right now one of the biggest things that I'm working with is guilt. Guilt and shame. Like I remember, or not even remember because it's a now thing. There are times that I feel guilty for thinking the way that I do, or feel shameful for the, some thoughts that I have. And morally, it's okay. Like objectively, if you look at it, it's morally okay. But then I think about, well, you're not supposed to think about these things because God said so, or you're not supposed to do these things because God said so. And so those are the things. I knew this. And that is one of the things, like deconstructing that I'm going through is quite literally guilt and shame. And so a lot of times, if you are deconstructing and you have to take a break, please do. Please do.
There is no
There's no right or wrong.
timeline. There is nothing.
You also don't stop deconstructing your journey. The more you get into your shadows, there's more stuff you have to
There's
sit
so
down
much-
and go,
Things that-
okay.
Yeah.
It's not even like when I say take a break, it's not like I'm not
Processing
still
it.
processing it in my head. Like, what? It's okay. It's really okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that's pretty much, I guess, where you could say I am. And then also, I don't want my daughter to have that same guilt.
Yeah. Breaking generational trauma.
Yeah.
100%.
And then you also look at like how you erase. And I love my parents. But I also know that I don't necessarily want to raise my daughter in the same about it. And so and some of the things, yes, totally. But some of the things, absolutely not. And so even though it's taken upwards of, 36 years to figure it out, not really figuring it out, but
Working on it.
yeah, honestly, daily.
No, and I think kind of piggyback on that just a little bit, talking about parents, and I want to shout out mine too as well. My parents are very devout Catholics and still are very active members in their church. My mother was at her school that is a Catholic school. I love that they find peace.
Honestly,
Community, and it gives them the purpose that they need. But I think over time, and then after many conversations, we finally come to terms of understanding that peace doesn't exist for me there. That peace isn't going to exist. And it's not one particular moment that I could pick that would lead me to that. But ultimately, my final nail in the coffin was my boys, my oldest boy specifically. Like when he was 5, he is diagnosed with something called Alzheimer's syndrome, and it is basically a genetic mutation. He is born pretty much without the ability to fight cancer. So, and the likelihood of him getting it is like high. So it's just like a ticking time bomb. And my thoughts is like, how do you look at something that is so innocent and even think that some God up there is looking at him being like, he's not worthy of being spared potential trauma, potential pain, potential, you know what I'm saying? Like altering life moments. You're going to pick and choose who you keep close. I don't acknowledge.
And logically, like, there's a reason doesn't work for me.
Satan isn't the answer
Yeah,
either.
thank you.
And that I don't believe in 100% either. And both of my boys have been raised without that ideology. Like, and recent conversation, my father and I had just recently retired, so I've gotten to really connect with them in the last few months again. And it's been really nice. But a conversation we had, I said, I know you guys worry deeply about, spiritual well-being, but I just want to point out, like, both of my boys have been raised without the burden or the
That stress.
stress.
Like, am I gonna go to heaven? Oh, they're wonderful kids.
And they're nice, sweet boys because that's who they see and what
They're
they
being exactly.
It's a misconception that you have to have spirituality or religion to
100%.
raise a good person.
and that's what
You
my
should want to
point
be a
is.
good person,
100%.
whether it means you're going to
And even if you don't have any,
Get over my shoulder, don't make it hurt.
like the
I
atheists,
don't know.
like
Really what happens actually, I don't know where I align with that. All I know is what I feel and like the way I contribute and the way I make other people feel in this lifetime. And teaching it's also emotional awareness. It's emotional maturity. It's understanding your words and your actions affect others and vice versa. And when we all grow as a society, we all get taught emotional maturity, which is also breaking a generational curse. These are things that we have to learn. And if you're not taught it, you have to teach your kids it. So you're breaking it down, but they're going to be who they're going to be with the threat of, if there's a bad person in the room, there's a bad person in the room. It doesn't matter.
No
Like
doubt.
people set their intent and make their decision with the threat of hell there or without.
Yeah.
How people present to you. I mean, there are going to be seasons in life where people go through and you don't recognize them. Fully think that is something people are allowed to go through and experience, but they're not allowed to have that energy affect you.
Outright hurt you.
Valid, but with boundaries.
With boundaries,
You can be
100%.
hurting.
Boundaries
But
are
yeah.
so hard to enforce, especially with people that we love. Love with our heart and fully.
And I feel like that being Christian too, the idea that love is blind has been misconstrued. Because no, love is not blind when it comes to boundaries. Love is full of boundaries. It is blind with sickness. It is blind with things like that, where it's like, I'm gonna love you no matter, even though we got together young and beautiful and lively, we may not be that lively one day. But that's what you're blind to, but that love never leaves. Now the boundaries, I feel like love with boundaries are the way to go, baby. All the boundaries, because then you learn to love each other properly.
Yeah. And I don't know if I think a lot of people can relate to this, like culturally too. I know it's kind of scary, but because I'm like the whitest one here, but I'm also Hispanic.
You are not the whitest person. I am the only white person in this room, I think, and that's okay.
I'm white
that,
passing.
girl.
No, I
I'm
have.
like, they don't think you're the whitest person here. I promise.
Like, hold on.
I opened my mouth and they were like, banjo.
I have more. Thank you. Thank you. I fully see Mortgage as my spirit animal. No, but culturally, like, especially in Latin communities with those that are also Catholic, the guilt of making sure that those traditions are passed down in the exact way.
Thing. Literal thing.
Gosh.
I wish
So,
Pentecostals would be more. I remember thinking like, these Catholics are shaming themselves. Pentecostals are like, bad.
and then I came out and I was like, oh, by the way.
We shame ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. We'll sign up for.
My own experience, Pentecostals could have done more of that, but that was my very specific experience. So that was a child's point of view. But yeah, y'all have a lot of beautiful, and I've only gotten a teeny little peek, right?
Oh, you know what
It's
though?
not mine, but
The true beauty of Catholicism, I mean, I still talk to the various saints. I love me some Virgin Mary still. That is someone I still practice with often, along with other folks that I speak to, or they wanna throw me through the learning lesson real quick. I'm like, was that you?
beautiful too, because
I wasn't ready. You thought I was ready, but I wasn't ready.
that was passed down. The ancestors probably talking too. And
Yeah.
that's
And
beautiful.
also ancestral, like when
Huge.
they're like, hey, by the way, get ready. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
My hand, keep holding my hand. What, like the moon? Tarot cards, they're like, you'll figure it out, girl. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, oh my God, I buckled up. I'm like,
Not okay. Maybe we out.
a little bit. Okay.
Fine.
No.
But okay, so I mean that kind of segues into what you kind of talking about your Catholic.
Yes. So, kind of circling back, like my dad's side, indigenous Mexicans. My great grandmother, she lived until she was like 106 or 8. She was incredible. The stories that they had about her, and some of the things I actually got to experience firsthand, because I think I was 8 when she passed away. So I still have some memories. She was a healer though, and on my grandmother's side, on my mom's side, Spanish Mexican, they are also healers, but they don't accept that term. I mean, talking about sana sana, or removing ojo and all those traditional practices culturally, that is not something you bring to the Catholic Church. Like, oh, you're not feeling good, sana sana. They'd be like,
Witch! Witch! I have, and you can completely correct me if I'm wrong. I have heard in some ways, like I think Catholicism was one of the original witchcrafts. Like
It
it really
is.
stems from it.
Yeah.
The body,
But
I mean,
it's
the
more
water,
hush
water's
hush.
wine.
Yeah.
I'm drinking Jesus' blood.
Information. They view it as a physical transformation.
You get to
Even
see,
though
like,
it's there. It's
yeah.
that is a physical transformation. That's why it is such a set ritual. I don't think ritual is the right word for them, but I forgot what it. But the sacristan, the Eucharist,
Yes.
is a very
Accepting the body and the blood of Jesus Christ.
has transformed.
Christianity.
You really talk
Like, how are you not?
body and blood
Of a-
Christ,
of
and you're
a-
calling me a witch?
And like, how did you not think that I was not gonna?
Some things did also start from like paganism. And yeah, it came around
Yes.
first. But yeah,
Right.
and then the cultural, there's
So
different versions,
exactly, and so
different influences. That's
I love the beauty of old Catholicism, the genuine, not the stuff that came over and was like, hey, we're gonna just terrorize the whole area,
and
and
the colonized.
that's not. We don't talk. No, we don't vibe with that. So personally, having been newer on this journey, I really like to align. I think I align more with a green witch. I want to heal. I love apothecaries. I love being able to help others and treat others, and it's something I feel very deep in my soul that I'm meant to do. I'm a super empathetic person. I think big Pisces part of that. And she's annoying sometimes, but it is what it is.
Text messages from you. For you? Morgan, I know you.
I'm texting you. And I'm like, what? How are you doing?
Why were
What
you
do
in my
like to do?
dreams?
Literally, she was in my dream, helping me talk to a ghost. It's a reoccurring dream. Nobody else has ever been in it before. Helping me break down what the ghost was saying. I was like, hey, girl, like that very rarely happens that I get like visitors.
Honored.
And it's like I invited her over. Like, I kind of was looking like, did you get the dream? Was I in yours?
Did we share this? No, I'm honored to really feel that connection, and
I do that. I think you know what though. There's a little bit of an empath in all of us. I don't feel I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm sure it's coming. The more that we do,
That's actually the next.
I don't feel like about
but I do that with my friends,
Well-
my other friends. Like outside of these beautiful ladies, I can literally feel us.
you feel so. Yes,
Like quite literally,
I'm
you
not sure
just feel like
intuition.
that. Yeah.
But we're all spiritual beings. It's just a matter of not fearing that intuition and learning to
Especially
lay down boundaries.
it's mothers. Your kid is away, and you're like, what just happened?
I feel like the reason
All mothers are at the end, what she said.
Yeah.
One of my favorite
Exactly.
movies.
Yeah.
that's why a
Which
lot
is why I'm
of
also
women-
here. My journey of Charmed and Practical Magic. I don't know how my mom didn't think I was going to start.
I love that.
I was like, you see me.
You didn't see me drawing on my doodle bear. You didn't think I was
Yeah.
gonna be a weirdo.
Yeah, right. I feel like motherhood really brings out that like actually, you know what? I really don't care what people think because now I have this little set of eyes and now it's
Who's
their
looking at
whole world I'm
Yeah.
framing. And that really kind of gives you it's crazy how motherhood it turns up that intuition. Exactly. It's like a twin megaphone. So it
Yes.
like
There
magnifies
was no
everything
worrying it.
around it.
It's a different
Wow.
frontal lobe.
And you also start clocking the way people act around you and the way that makes you feel with your child. Like it because that's what keeps your child
Yeah.
alive and safe along with you. It really because when you become a mother, now your heart's walking around out there, man. Talk about
I'm not a mother yet. That terrifies me.
you're already so intuitive. So I'm like, girl.
I don't know how y'all guys.
An actual mental breakout in 2020.
I will be Brittany.
That's why I got on medication. I was like, all right,
2007.
too much.
I have a long journey with that. That's why I'm all for like if you need the mental health help, get it,
No,
girl.
how do
There's no
y'all-
shame in that. It'll go up
Like,
and
do you
down.
just set aside bail money? Because that's my biggest fear.
I walk around.
Obviously, you get witchy
thing.
friends, okay? So you can call them and be like,
Hey.
Yeah. I don't know. You'll see me on Facebook telling Grandpa that he needs to get it together. Apparently,
I've got people in the freezer already, and I don't do that
Apparently.
often. I don't do that often. But
that's cute. I throw it away. You ain't never coming out of that car.
See,
Hell no.
I just it's either mirror or the freezer.
And into it, you're toast, baby. I'm not taking it
Okay.
back. I'm just gonna
Same.
put the
I bought
intention out there.
mirrors.
do you identify as a witch?
Oh, I do. I have that connection. I think a familial, like,
Yes.
with Catholicism. So I'm always going to love and respect the beautiful and honest and non-harmful practice of Catholicism. Where they play into a part, the human error of you got to do this, you got to love this, you got to be this. No, I don't fucks with you. But I am a witch. I am a witch, and I am proud of it. And I still work with deities, and I full respect of various gods and goddesses because, like what we've been saying, we're all saying the same thing, just
Yeah.
kind of different.
100%. But I would like to say, I think witch is synonymous with healer. I think since the beginning of time, they were just women that went out and gathered herbs and maybe
Or
potions. But like even that, like there is standing up for yourself is just as important as being a healer. Those things, there is no love without boundaries. So I think it makes sense identifying as one. I think the media, I think history, I think colonization has scared that word, but I think when we get down to the root of it, they're just healers.
Well,
We're just different
colonization has
types.
become such a not a taboo word, but what's the word?
I'm a history.
Controversial.
Controversial, but not.
I'm sorry, baby. That's a part of history.
But I'm like,
Yeah.
that you have to acknowledge. That's something that
Well, that's also part of deconstructing is understanding deconstruction means being uncomfortable in the truth. Sometimes you have to sit even with your ancestors. I mean, I'm white. I'm sure there's some ancestors I gotta lay some boundaries down with because I don't rock like that. And I never have. Even when they were alive, I didn't rock like that. Even as a kid, I said, you said Jesus said love all. I'm loving all. It don't matter to me.
Yeah.
And some people don't come to that conclusion later in life. Sometimes they have to deconstruct, but it is from fear and hate. And that's what colonization was. It was coming over, it was taking land, it was stemmed in root of living in
Girl,
fear
yes.
and hatred. And when we can get down to that, it's not controversial, it's history. And when you learn from it, you don't make the same mistakes over again.
Well, my grandmother and I had a really good conversation about this because she's fully white. I think they have like maybe an eighth of Cherokee or something in them, but I'm adopted.
I was wondering if you're going to bring that up.
I realized I didn't actually bring that up.
I didn't want to drop that yet.
Like for me, it's so like such a thing I don't even think about. I forget to bring it up. It's been a really big part of learning to connect to people like I've never met before. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm now become very close to a lot of people on my other side of the family. Unfortunately, like my dad's side of the family doesn't live anywhere close. My biological father is in like Minnesota. He is not close, but I've talked to him twice, no, two or three times now. And he's very nice. He's very great. But like my biological mother had me when she was 15. I think she turned like 16 very shortly. Well, she was officially 16 when she had me, but she was 15 when she was pregnant. And my father was 17. So, I mean, also a part of a rodeo and did horse racing and stuff. So he moved all around the and stuff with his dad, his family. And it was a very tumultuous time for my biological family. But a lot of my journey has become like trying to figure out like where did I come from?
Yeah. Who am I?
Much knowledge when it comes to the people who raised me, my family. Obviously I know all of their histories, but while their history is valid and those people who have moved on are still my family, I have people on the other side who are genetically, historically connected to me and their roots go super far back. And I feel that they come up and they are here, but getting to know that energy has obviously been a very interesting journey because I am very sensitive. I am, my house is very warded, but it is open to family, and I have family stop through all the time. I mean, what was it? The last time we were here, I had a friend of mine pop by who passed on.
You set the boundaries. If there is family,
Yeah.
like I'm very like so my grandmother really dug into where we came from, where our family came from prior to Texas. I have an understanding I have like Scottish and Irish. There's a very good chance a lot of my ancestors were pagan before they were Christian. Before we ended up in the South.
All the
Like-
way back. Yeah.
And even as a white person, you have ancestors that like you're gonna have to lay boundaries down, even when you put those words, hey, family can stop through as long as it's like those who are morally aligned with me. Yeah, because
Who you are.
no matter what your history is, there's going to be ancestors that maybe were hateful, maybe were,
Yes.
even if you're not, no matter what
No,
your background is.
That is experience,
And I
and I've
think-
heard that experience.
Even if you are a Christian and you're having these things and you're not welcoming it, please remember, like, you have the power to say, you're not welcome here and get up out of here.
Yeah. that
People really, I was never taught that, and I didn't request those visits. But when you have adults around you,
Power to do that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like it was.
and call on God, but also stand 10 toes down. You are still here in this realm. It's your space.
You are your own power. Does that make sense?
You're still a
Well,
spiritual being.
100%. You, if you really would even look at it through a Christian lens, you are an image of what they say God's children is. So what makes you think that you don't have that ability?
It might be the
taught,
construction
you
of the
know?
church.
We've been
But
taught to
yeah,
give that power away, but I feel like a lot of our deconstruction is calling that power back to us.
absolutely.
And calling that back to ourselves and empowering. And that word gets tossed around a lot, you know, in a lot of like self-help and stuff, empowerment. But empowerment truly means bringing that energy, bringing it back to you, because you can say all you want. You can say, you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But if you do not have, you lack the conviction to put behind the empowerment, to put that energy and call it back to you, then I feel like, you know, you're still working on it. You know what I'm saying? And that takes a lot, because when you feel that come back to you, it is a lot. It is very overwhelming, because our entire lives we've been told to be small.
women.
Yeah, women in
We're
general.
too loud. We just talked about the eating. We're neurospicy. Like, you know, I'm ADHD. I am not officially diagnosed, but like,
I am not.
But then
you.
my children have been officially diagnosed with ADHD, and they are on the spectrum as well. But you know, it's like we say, a spectrum for everyone. And what I'm hoping is like we all feel comfortable and don't have to. I've done wearing that mask. I have worn it. It is fallen on the ground. It broke a long time
That's
ago.
what all of us are like. The mask is off.
I don't normally feel comfortable enough to sit down and like talk in front of us and talk about this thing. But over time, really truly what made me finally be like, why don't you do this? Like, there is no reason you should not be doing this, because there are plenty of us out there that don't have this opportunity, don't have the transportation, don't have the socialization. Like, maybe you need to be around people, and that is totally valid. Like, listen, I am a hermit most of the time. I'm going to be really honest. They all got my location. I rarely leave home unless I.
Same.
And I love being in my environment. I have my energy gear. And I will say, like, we'll kind of segue into it in just a second. Like, maybe one or two things that kind of like led you to like, oh, I'm a
Awakening.
Like, I did not say what I identify as, because part of this guilt and shame, or more of the fear, right, is, do I call myself a witch?
That's
But
part of your journey, and you
it
don't have
is.
to label it. I think empowerment.
Awesome.
Empowerment. That's beautiful. Half of my family does not know. They gonna find out if they click on this link, because it's not
Find out.
that label
The
is
funnest
not for
part
anyone
is-
else.
That is, but I think the funnest part is my daughter. Like, she'll ask me, you know, mommy, are we witches? And I'm like, yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
yeah, baby.
Or even like the other day, she got in the car and she was like, a boy likes me. And I was like, well, I don't know, you know, whatever. I was like, as long as he's nice to you. And she was like, but what if he's not? You tell him your mom's a witch. She just died. Loved it. I absolutely loved it. But I also felt in that moment that his people went back to, you know, my people went to his people and was like, don't mess with this child. Like, don't do that.
It's not the one that's not gonna
If the weather is like not cooperating, they're like, fix this. And I'm like, what do you need, Cat? Because you're a witch. I'm like, listen, I'm not that full of sorcery yet. I don't know what to tell you. I was like, I'm just letting things happen the way they are.
My favorite thing is like how you know, same thing with my granny, such a special woman, such a big part of my life. Like, I didn't get to see her nearly as much as I wanted to. She lived in another rural town, like 2 hours out. But she was so Christian, but man, was she a witch in her own regard.
Oh,
like,
gosh.
it's
Same with
crazy.
my
She was such a Christian, but I mean,
My mother
My
is the
granny-
witchiest Catholic
Oh,
I have ever
goodness.
met.
Yes. Same.
the you can
And her
feel the
death,
energy on that.
I kind of feel like I've given this privilege because maybe she wasn't able to identify as a witch back in that time, but in her break, I did too.
Grant.
It feels like now I do feel her. I do like when I speak up and I tell men to shut up and I put people in jars, it's because she couldn't, but they also inspired you because they would tell you, like, I feel like she preached more in the version of the Bible backs. I thought, and I'm not saying she's a perfect woman. I'm not saying she was a perfect mother, but in the grandmother department and in the being herself in a woman, I did learn a lot just watching her. I was raised, not always properly, by a lot of fierce women. And whether they're here and they agree with the fact that I'm a witch or not, they, I feel like the ones that raised me just are so happy to see me 10 toes down in something and it's not harming anyone else. And it's things that they weren't allowed to do. It's a privilege to be like, I am a witch. This is what I believe in, because that wasn't, that wasn't doable even a decade ago without, like, shoot, it's not even really doable now. Everybody has their opinion on it.
The decade's even.
But I feel like everybody's kind of coming out, like, collectively, and we're talking about that more.
100%. And that's kind of like some of the notes we had talked about. Like, as a collective, I feel like there's so much
We're all tuning in.
community and
Something's up.
tuning in to all of us realizing like there's so much more than what they fed us.
Cue the music.
Yeah.
Little Mermaid.
But even with, like, COVID happened, that's all spiritual things. We had to hunker down. Babies were born. There was times of that. Kids didn't get to graduate. Kids didn't get to go to prom. Like, my wedding got canceled. There is, like, everyone was living and life just stopped. And that really, I think, was a fluctuation. Then from there, a lot of things changed and had a ripple effect. And obviously these things build, but genuinely, you can see it. But if you look at history, we can always see it. We can see where the healers start coming out. Are you starting, Natalie, with your pivotal story? What really kind of, any spooky synchronicity?
My first really big spooky monumental moment, like that kind of like was put on the map according to my mother. I was 6 years old. I don't necessarily remember the moment, but I do remember the hospital visit before he died. My grandfather, my mother's dad, this is my adoptive family. He was like through all that breast cancer and stuff, but he was also a smoker and he had Agent Orange affected his like lungs and kind of like fueled all of that. So like the very end of his life, he was a lot of machinery. He wasn't allowed to have any water or anything like that because there was tubes and all that going on. And that was like one of the big things he was kind of like signaling to everybody. He was like, I just want to thirsty. Even though like they had fluids and stuff like that. So anyway, I don't remember much of the hospital. I remember the last really kind of like visit of saying like my official goodbyes. And we went to go stay with my dad's grandparents, or my dad's parents, my grandparents. And we were sitting there and Barney, of course. And my mother comes home to let us know, my dad, to say like, hey, my grandfather has passed, like he's gone officially. But before she says anything to me, I turn around, I look at her, and I say, Grandpa came by. He wanted to let you know he's on his way to heaven. He's not thirsty anymore. And he loves you guys very much. Around, continued watching. Mother just goes, like, this 6-year-old is not going to know any of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
She didn't just pull that out of her ass.
It was kind of like, and there were other little things. We had, those sweet, cute moments, but there was a time I was closer to 8 where I saw some really, really scary shit. It was a kind of like a vision of thing that appeared to me, and it was like my parents were really strict growing up, so I was not allowed to watch like scary movies. I was not exposed to any of that stuff. Like it was not my jam because I saw enough.
I need more of it.
And it was I'll be a little graphic, but not too graphic. But like I saw family members being like beheaded. It was like fiery pits, scary stuff, and it was the most out of control and scared I'd ever been in my childhood. With even all the other stuff that happened to me, that right there was the first time I think I actively stopped looking for those things and actively stopped wanting to see those things, if that makes sense. And it really took past my adulthood, like I would say around like 21, 22, even up until like 23 for me to like even start acknowledging hearing, feeling, seeing those things again, because I would write up everything.
27 and 2 months, and I'm finally just like being like, okay. And then the second I get scared, I'm like, get out, we're done. We're done. Now I snap it up.
Especially being raised Catholic, you're taught to fear, especially so much of that stuff that maybe not necessarily would have been scary if I would have been taught more at the time, which I see a lot of that, now. The other big moment for me that like I'm a witch moment was when both of mine were little. Dominic was about, I want to say the same age as like I was when I first kind of saw him, around 6. And he came to me one night screaming and crying and said something slapped him and out immediately. As a mother, like I'm a very primal person, so
I'm on bear mode.
No, but her
Up in
rooms.
here, don't breathe in here, don't look in here. I don't fuck.
of my journey, so I had just my toes in the water, and I was already like, this was not the level I was ready for. I wasn't ready. And really was. The door was opened. I was learning a lot of stuff, and honestly, what I feel like came forward was a lot of trauma and negative emotions that I was coming to terms with that I had not come to terms with myself and was allowing to become an entity, if that makes sense. Like,
that might have been a generational curse that you were addressing.
100%.
Typically, when it's that powerful,
I've always
it's
had a
passed
shadow
down.
following me. Because let's be honest, I've had a lot of trauma happen to me since I was little. We won't touch on all of it, but I'll touch on a little bit of it. But like my trauma started very young, and it wasn't anybody's technically fault. We all know things better now. But that being said, that moment right there led me to, if you're gonna do this, you better do this. And the next morning after, he calms down, he's, was sleeping with us in the bed. I think Damien was like in his bassinet still at the time. So I mean, like, oh no, he wasn't in his bassinet, but he was still, we co-slept. We're all bed shared and stuff like that. So he piled in with us. And the next day I told AJ, I need to take the boys. I need an hour or two. I'm going to cleanse this house.
Go and fix things.
I need to do this without them here because I don't want to have to worry about
What's going to be brought on them?
or energies that are going to be brought out, because I could even feel
I got beefing behind me.
Yeah.
I was like Aaron kind of in the background. Just ignore the random fighting. Just
David's like, this is my spot.
He's like, my mommy's talking about. So anyway, I started trying to put stuff together to do the cleanse, and there was something for me. I'm telling you, I could not find what I was looking for. I was getting knocked.
I know it's time to cleanse when I start getting anxious about cleansing, because cleansing should be like what it was in
100%.
prayer. It should not bring anxiety. It should be relief.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes that means, hey, you're sitting with something. It's time to let it go.
100%. And so I finally, I had to lock in. It was a lot of grounding, a lot of meditation, and finding that power within me to push through, because as soon as I started, you could feel it. It's almost like it was running around my house. And it got to the point where we got everything out, and it was like a me versus you. And I had a moment where I yanked open the door and I threw up this like black, gooey, gross stuff out of me. And this was a time before I really even started smoking or anything like that.
It was actually a gardener. Happens a lot with the sort of witchcraft and protection.
100%.
It was not uncomfortable.
It was a fully a thing attached to me, my self-doubt, my fear, all of these things, my self-doubt that really just manifested into this thing of like, yeah. And I was like, you're never going to tell me what to do. And then after that moment, I even actually, I recorded myself afterwards. I was drenched in sweat. My face was like a bit pale afterwards, but that word,
I've seen the video.
that protection has genuinely laid down the hardest foundation of protection I have. Well, I built off of what I laid down that day because it was so off. I mean,
no, and
I've faced down some
She
nasty
sounds
stuff.
like the first one in a long line to say,
Yes.
"Nuck if you buck." I'm
Like,
standing
that's
to
right.
right.
It's so protected. My husband, and he accepts it. He recognizes that there's validity in it, and he can see. Not my choice, though.
It's like,
He's like, I didn't ask for this.
Not,
When we were
husbands are just like,
yeah.
I believe in you, but I'm kind of scared.
I'm gonna sit in the corner.
He's like, I'm just gonna stay over here.
Where I go over, we come over and we feed each other's animals. That's when we're out and about.
Backyard neighbors, by the way.
Yes, that's a whole other story. But her house is so protected that the bad energies that he could see surrounding, like in the street area, shook him to his core. They weren't getting in. That's not something that was coming in this way.
Oh, I told her the first time I came over, and I didn't know she was thwarted yet. I didn't even know if I had necessarily, like, I was already kind of tiptoeing more into learning protection.
Dun dun dun.
No.
So my spooky stories are like, I don't even know if they're really.
You can't even do like synchronicities,
It's
like
not
what
even
would
that.
be.
Well, I guess it is. So did y'all ever like see the outline of the Shadow Man?
Yes.
Okay. So when I was younger, that guy used to stand in the doorway. Me and him don't vibe. I don't know why he's there, but I did not like. I remember laying.
Yeah, and I've actually some
Think
people
about it.
snore.
like why.
Don't scare. Oh,
Does that make sense?
yeah, but it's.
I think it's traumatized
that's-
children.
It's not a fact.
I
it's a
think he's
traumatized
it's
children.
yes. And I don't think he's bad.
It's so funny. I
He
don't know why
scared
I'm looking
me,
at your
but-
door right now, but it's so funny
Well,
that he came then
don't
because
record
I
it.
happened to be living with my aunt after a serious situation with my dad. And so now that I know, cool beans, like right
Yes.
on, but also
He was the first one I saw, and he
Yeah.
stood there messing with a bag in the kitchen. I was shitting my pants, girl.
no,
And he's sitting there
didn't
like,
even, he didn't even. It was like the more I looked, the more I could
Yes.
see his outline, and I'm
Yes.
just like, okay, you gotta blink it away, blink it away,
Yeah, I
blink it away, and you're
shut
not
my
doing it.
eyes and try and fall back to sleep, like over my head, try not to breathe. Like, girl,
And I think it was either that same night. Again, this is when I'm living with my aunt at the time. And at this time, me and my cousin shared a bedroom because again, I'm living down there or up there, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
Anyway, I remember the closet door slowly opening, and all I'm saying is, my cousin's now, help me. No me, no me. And I hear my aunt and she's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, the closet door. And it's so funny to me because she came in and she was like, no, the baskets have gone. I'm like, yes, that basket had been there, blah, 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 blah. And so as I've gotten older, the stories have happened more and more. I get dreams
yeah,
because I've always, and I think I've even told them, but I am a firm do not show up as a ghost unless you're ready to take me with you. I don't, my heart is not there. And so I think I appreciate what my family does is they show up in my dreams. And so I can, yeah,
Which I think that's
And I
a
think-
lot of Christian. If you have a Christian background, you kind of get traumatized with that. Like, I think that makes sense.
yeah, no,
But that's
yeah.
a boundary. That's how I
Honestly,
feel. Yeah.
Yeah, don't,
That's startling
That's
to
not when I go to
me.
sleep.
yeah.
Let's see it by that time.
And then dreams are like super vivid, but also the one time I've always seen things at the corner of my eye. And I always try to like downplay that you're just tired taking that. But
I literally.
there's no
That's
reason that I should see
none
a
of my
child's
business.
shadow
Yeah.
running by all the time. But I do remember being, I want to say maybe it was in high school, or maybe I was like a freshman in college, and I had went to my parents' house, of course, because I lived there. But I was eating at the table, and I remember eating, and so their laundry room was like just past the kitchen, like right there. And I remember seeing dark shadow walk right into the laundry room, and I remember picking my stuff up, putting it in the trash, and I walked in there with my bag. That is not not today. No, I am not at a point in my life or my journey where you can sit next to me and have a conversation. Don't sit on my bed and move things around. Don't move things like to where I can see them. I don't.
And I would
don't
just
fuck
like to
with that.
say that is about you can set that. You may
I
never
do
be
set
ready
that
for that.
because I will literally, I will feel
And
the hair on
Yeah.
the back of my neck stand up, and I'm like, I'm not in the mood today,
Yeah.
and I literally just say it out. I'm not
That's all
in
you
the mood
gotta
today,
do.
and they go away.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah,
That's
but you may not be ever ready for that, and that's okay. There are other ways to communicate.
yeah.
And like
Sabrina, sure. She said, "Oh,
there's a big misconception with like us being one or the other. Like, no, those boundaries still stand.
No, yeah. Don't show up. Yeah, no.
not
And
cool."
I
I'll
will-
talk
same
about
way.
house real fast if you cross boundaries with me anywhere, physical, spiritual.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'll fight you. I don't want.
Yeah,
My
Yeah.
peeps will fight you. Don't
yeah.
Do you have any?
Don't.
Listen,
Yeah.
Like,
all
don't
I
make me
know-
text Natalie and tell
Yeah.
her what you did.
All I
Don't
know
make me.
is all of my exes, barring like one who just was probably as traumatized as I was, are doing real rough. Okay.
Well, when you
Don't
have
talk after
That's the chaos. But
Just kidding. But if you happen to see this, you know exactly. You know exactly who
she said, and
know
for
exactly
you,
you do.
you.
You do, or what you're still doing. Don't fuck with me. Once I get deeper into this, it's not working.
it's on
Right. She said, when I get
Better
this
be glasses.
way.
Mommy, better come to some reckoning, figure out your shit.
And I love that. But honestly, if they're struggling because you are protected, you already have those things,
I
and
don't
you
know if
walked
they're
away.
struggling or not because we don't talk.
I promise
It's
they
also
are.
an issue because you should be having conversations with me about a certain time. But it's okay.
I
Like I
promise.
said,
They're
Oh, that's all I need
I
to worry
got you.
about.
But I can
We will.
just wait. I'm gonna let
I'm sorry.
some others speak for me. But neither here nor there. Morgan and Jade, what about y'all?
Yeah, sure.
you tell yours, Morgan. You got some spooky synchronicities or anything like that? The second we get more into the cats get wild,
Uh-huh.
girl.
So now, it's so silly. Like I've been saying, my family has all recognized that we have traits and qualities and gifts that why they don't put two and two together, that's fine. My dad actually kind of does. Prime example, we're at AMD Anderson. Both my parents have journeyed with cancer, but he's gone through it more recently in a sense. Yeah. Anyway, so MD Anderson, any point, if I'm with my dad and we can feel or see someone who has moved on or an entity, he and I will clock it. He goes, yeah, I saw that. My whole life, it's just been like me and my family's acknowledging, like, yeah, there's something in that corner, or yeah, I felt that. And why they don't put that two and two together, it it is what it is. But my dad's been pretty understanding, and because that was his journey. He doesn't like label it, but I mean, he's seen his dad go through some deep and dark shit where it's actually made him like turn his head like an owl, or some weird. That's such a weird story he shared with me. But when he was going through like was it 2018 or something, his most recent cancer journey, we were at MD Anderson, and I'm sure if anyone can relate, I mean, there are people there. Just unfortunately,
Oh
just
yeah.
energy.
Well, when you
stuck.
got sick, you're a portable between life death, I think, to a certain
Absolutely.
extent. So
You're in between.
And absolutely. So we're in the waiting room. We're just waiting to get him back in his room and get all hooked up. And I'm like, he's like, mm-hmm.
Like,
and even
sometimes I would just really like you to be like,
even my younger sister, who isn't really versed, or she's actually a lot like Sabrina. She's like, nah, not today. She knows. But my earliest memory, very similar, Shadow Man, but with bad energy, unfortunately. It actually started with bad energy and learning how to protect myself without what I didn't realize. I was getting guidance, I was receiving guidance, but I didn't know. I was a freaking kid, and there were dolls turning their heads. I'm like, what? I don't want these dolls anymore. My aunt gave me all these beautiful, I'm talking expensive porcelain dolls. I'm like, burn them. We're done. No, but most recently, in healing my inner child and going through the shadow work and processing things that I didn't want to process, that I had hid in my mind, all that trauma. When you start accepting the people or the deities that you want to work with, your eyes are forced open, unfortunately, or fortunately, just how you want to take it. So,
that one movie with some people, I thought people
yeah, you're like, yeah.
oh,
No, it's not called Birth, but it is quite.
with the quiet place.
No,
Quiet Place. You're thinking it's similar, but
Be quiet. It's something like that.
she said, I got this.
You're gonna Google it. Yeah, I knew that she's Virgo. That's exactly what she was doing. When she
Box,
said I couldn't handle
Bird
it,
Box.
she's saying
Bird
stuff.
Box? Bird Box?
Bird Box.
I knew it was Bird something. Bird Box. Okay, Bird Box.
No, it's just been a whole thing. It's just like whether or not I've cared to admit it. This is what it is. We're just vibing.
You can only run from it for so long.
Yeah.
Before it catches up to you. And I truly believe unless you turn around and face it, it really leads to a lot of unsettled feelings in life and a lot of questioning. You
Yeah.
gotta look at things through fear. And that is not
Yeah.
what face. And I'm so tired of living that way. Like, I am the most powerful person out there right now. Like, I am. This
No,
is
when you
mine.
start-
Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you saying? Like, I'm not scared of you. Like, I
No.
will fight you. Like, I will not run from you. I will literally
10
run
toes
at
down.
you and like I don't care if my fists run through you. We
And
will fight, you know?
spiritually, physically, people don't know how to react to that.
No.
Some people really
And
think,
please don't take
yeah,
the fact
everyone
that I don't
operates on
like
fear.
ghosts as a thing that we also won't throw in. Okay, I don't like when they
I know.
pop up, but
But
human wise,
of
you have to
course,
start with.
the energy shifting in a room and things, yeah, that doesn't feel comfortable if you don't have an explanation. It's like, excuse me, this is my space. Rude. Yeah, like it makes sense why that's uncomfortable and you don't like that because it's crossing a boundary.
And to close off Pisces, y'all know they just be coming in dreams, though.
Yeah.
That's what she said, but I meant like
That they're just there. I got
So
you.
many things we should talk about. They also say like you can see so much in it.
you can. Various dreams are
Some of them,
absolutely. Some are just like I just watched a weird movie and that's what's going on.
but some of them are.
But you'll know, you'll feel it. You'll wake up and be like, but
Oh, the more
There's a White House that I go to every time I go to sleep, and I don't know where this White House is.
that's funny. I've been reliving my childhood home because I'm processing through something.
I get a lot of recurring ones.
I
So
went back to my house.
No.
My
My reoccurring one is wading through a river on a street, and they're
Ooh, that's huge.
everywhere.
Ooh,
There's
we're gonna
what?
talk about
Is there
that.
everywhere?
No,
there's boats
no.
everywhere.
Oh,
Bones. Okay, so
Mhm.
All right, Jade, hit us with it.
I'm like, I wrote some things down. I got a lot
She's
of
like, I
more.
wrote
I'm like,
down.
all right, I don't know how much of this for.
Shadow work when I was working.
It's all right. It's kind of for
give
naturally.
me the scariest one. And then the other one, like
What do you mean, like scary, like spooky ghosts, or scary, like life and death? Like, no, I got a lot of lore.
Okay, let's pick.
I got one of each. I got one that's like really fucked up family, like brother shooting the other brother,
whoa,
and the spiritual. Yeah, that I was gonna, and I wasn't gonna get deep into that one. I was
Okay.
just gonna
She's
get
like,
the
"Let me
top coat. But now that I'm like, I don't know if that's too heavy, even with the little paragraph I did that would
we
recap
can
chat.
totally do, believe it or not, segment on it.
Do we want to say that for that? I have some, believe it or not, like when I tell you the Lord is fucking crazy. Like and I'm gonna say it again with a black eye. What about?
Sorry, you're right.
Like,
My bad.
That is hilarious.
like literally. So we'll start. I'll do. I have a different one off the top of my head. So to do with like family lineage, something that was kind of a spooky, like we got something going on here. Not really spooky, but just interesting. We can always pick up on energies, and we did the same thing. We kind of were just like, it's fine, just like pray or
When her friend
ignore
was
it.
visiting, yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. That really amplified for me because I don't really allow that in my own house. If it's other people's
She's like, we don't
family,
do that.
no, I can hear that because like when it's other people, like that muscle works if it's somebody I really
Yeah.
care about. But in my own house with my kid, I just had very bad experiences because it was their like addiction demons coming out and I had no protection. So even if it were a healthy family, you want to communicate, we'll communicate. Leave the kid out of it. If
Yeah.
he seeks that out later, that is his journey. But that's because I have seen the radical side, right? So I let him kind of figure that out on his own. So my grandmother, all the one in my family will always dream about people closest to us being pregnant, and they're
Mm.
always pregnant. Like every single time, it's the craziest thing. Well, when I was pregnant with Xander, I'm really close to my sister-in-law. I'm not gonna speak on her views. I know she was raised Christian. I think she still leans more that way. Not really my business. But we're still very close. She knows I don't really align with that. She hears me. We're kind of like at first glance, she'd be like, "Oh, they probably, might disagree on a lot of things, but we don't." Like, I think I
agree.
see her, and she is comfortable with that, so she sees me. And she's October 10th is her. Yeah, so she's a Libra. So it's not easy for y'all to open up to everybody, but when you have somebody that's like, "Hey, seen it, done it, let me lay it out to you," she's opened up to me about things she isn't opened up to even her husband about, or her family or therapy. Like we've gotten really close. Well, when I was pregnant with Xander, I say Xander dreamed that. I had a vivid dream. She had already had her first son. And I called her. I gone over to see her that same week and I said, "Braylon, you're pregnant again, baby. You need to go take a test." She's like, "No, no, no." She told
Nah.
me she went and got a pregnancy test like within that day or the next 2 days, and she was pregnant. And when she told me, I was like, I knew it. I saw him. Like I could see this beautiful little blonde boy, and I love him so much. He is fire. He is a Leo. I love that baby. But it's a long line of women in my family being like, "You're pregnant," whether it was family related to us, friends closest to us. Like it's there, and we'll dream it. That's why I say, like, if I can't figure it out through conversation or like around the room, I'm gonna dream it.
You're gonna
Like,
dream it.
My
It's gonna be
ancestors are
answered
telling
one way
on
or
you.
another.
Always, always.
I know.
So that one has always been a really funny one to me because it wasn't even necessarily bloodline. Like I thought it was going to be like my own sister I did it with, but I did it to somebody else I'm closest with, and I called it before she even knew it, and I thought that was pretty cool. And my son even sees her kids as their brothers, and I've never prompted that. He said back, he said, "I want to go see my brothers."
Mm,
So there's a little tie there, and I don't know what it is, but it's beautiful.
that's beautiful.
And then one, it's a lighter one. It's still sad because it has to do with death, but was it a year, 2 years ago? I had my dog Hank. I came home from work and we were on an acre at the time in the country. He was laying there unresponsive, real heavy breathing, and you know that mom. I'm like something's wrong when he didn't immediately run up. I run up. He was struggling. Well, I get him loaded up. I hoot, I holler. I'm rushing. I'm blowing through red lights safely as I can, trying to get him to the vet. We get to the vet, and as we open up, he's gone. And it was sudden. I'm not sure what he got into or what we were out in the country, so who knows? He could have eaten a frog, and that was the end of it. Dogs. He was a pity mix, so always more curious than he was good for him. And I love him. He taught me a lot of lessons, but on the way back is kind of where the synchronicity came in. After losing my granny, I kind of fallen in a spiritual path too because that was before I had my son. She was a big impact for me wanting to have my son and get pregnant because I wanted him to be able to meet some of the people that I really loved before that time went, and he has. But something I started getting with her was the angel numbers that I had aligned with. And I'd never been somebody that believed in that, but I always saw those numbers when it came in regard to her, and I started associating with it. Well, on the way back from the vet, I just lost basically my animals are my babies. Losing him, my mother-in-law, she didn't know this about me. She is a devout Christian woman, very much. She does not look outside of her faith. She does not shame me if I mention anything else, but you can just kind of just see her look away and on, and she minds her own. She believes what she believes, and I think that's beautiful in its own. But she looked up and she goes, "Look, Jane, there's that 444 number. Don't you like repeating numbers or something?" It was that exact number. And it just after Hank had passed. And it really solidified to me because it was like this woman that doesn't believe in it just looked over and said, "Hey, something that
Had a message
this means something to
from
you,
all
right?"
People, yeah.
And it's like that she didn't know it was that exact number. Like this was before I had it tattooed on me. Like, and to me, that number, it's not just my granny, it means like my angels are around, and I will get a sense and I will see that number often. It's one on my
Oh,
personal journey that kind of fell in my lap. But that's one of the things that it's not really spooky, but it's like a sweet, like
like
sometimes people even outside of
out of
your
union.
beliefs
Yeah.
really validate some things. And she had no idea that's what she was doing, but it was a moment that in that moment I was crying like, I gave him the best life. He was a rescue. We both had to learn how to function. It was new for me. And I learned a lot from that dog. And as I'm reminiscing on the good things is when I see it. So it was kind of his last hurrah
Way of like
goodbye.
saying, I'll
Yeah.
be with you regardless.
And he is. And like, I still honor him and Samhain and things like that. And my animals always stick with me. My childhood dog, like I remember him
Mm.
every time that comes up. So animals have been always a big part of my spiritual journey. Like even before I understood it, they were really my protectors and the beings that I turned
Importance of
to
animals. Yeah.
because well, the adults in my life, I really didn't feel like I could in my childhood. So
Sure.
that's where I found
Your comfort and safety.
sanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So her doing that, it was very full circle moment. So mine, I won't give you all the crazy ones, but those are pretty the
I
top.
want you
I
to
think
save
that are
them for
nice.
like when we're.
Oh, girl, there's plenty. I probably don't have. I forget about them, and then when I was taking the notes for this, I was like, oh yeah, that traumatic thing did happen. But yeah, so that was my little visiting.
So to end it off, to send us off, I mean, we've covered a lot of really like broad topics here, but what I'm really hoping is kind of deep dive, soft dive into some more details where we can kind of focus on one or more things. And it's going to be a lot of a lot of silliness, randomness, but um, I'm hoping with this, you kind of grow with us, grow with our knowledge. And if you have anything that you want to add, we are connected on all social media aspects. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. We have TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. They should all be active by the time this is released. And we also have an email. It's airheadsfriends@gmail.com. So if you guys have any questions or recommendations, write in, tell us your stories. We would love to hear them because we all have unique journeys. We all have unique paths. And, maybe you heard something today that really resonated with you. And, you know, I need to tell somebody, and we would love to hear it if you want to tell us. So other than that, I'm going to include in the show notes and everything a little protection, kind of like self love spell. It's a little bit of like self love, self acceptance. Let's see if I can talk today. Super simple, doesn't require a lot. And honestly, my biggest takeaway, and you'll hear me say it like all the time, is like use what you have. If if you don't have exactly what it is, use what feels right. It doesn't have to be exact. Things don't have to be rigid. Things don't have to be. It's fluid. It's real, and that's how life is too. So, other than that, I hope this is a safe. I hope this was a fun but chaotic environment. I hope you felt the magic, the connection, and you saw a little bit of yourselves in all of us today. All right. Thanks, guys.